Hello everybody, it's Lilah here with another Love Bites from Lilah, my weekly series on the soul, and I'm hoping you are enjoying it. If you like what I have to share, please hit the like button and then also of course subscribe if you're not already subscribed to receive notifications on my latest videos. I am a healer and seer and I work from my premises here in Cape Town, South Africa. I see clients from all over the world and I have a community of the White Rose, which is an online community in Patreon. So if you wish to engage with me on a one-on-one session or as part of my community, all of the links are below. Just take a look and see what resonates. And everything I share is always offered with your healing and highest good as the intention. I'm a channel, so I bring in information and I translate so that hopefully you get to understand what it is that I'm trying to share. And so I'm always very grateful to my spiritual team and my guides. And then my connection to Source is the most important thing in my spiritual life. And so I honor that, I bless that, and I connect in daily. So this week's Love Bites from Lilah, or with Lilah, is actually going to be focusing on the child. Those of you that follow me on Instagram may have watched my Instagram live video I did earlier on in the week around what is coming up for me in terms of acknowledging the souls of children, teens, young adults. If you haven't watched it, go and follow my Instagram site. It was also prompted by yet another teenage suicide in my circle of awareness, circle of influence. And it is happening far too often, right? So I may be a peace-loving person, which of course I am, and I'm a healer, but there is also a very strong warrior in me. And this warrior is fighting for the souls of the children. It came to me in a dream a couple of months back from Babaji that there were a whole lot of people meditating and doing yoga, and I was just getting very agitated because I felt I needed to do things right. And I went across and Babaji was holding the space and I said, Babaji, please, can I go? And he says, of course, Lilah, go and save the children. So I know it's very much part of my work, and more often than not, it's not necessarily the children I'm working with one-on-one, it's the parents, it's the couples, but certainly I do have teenage clients and young adult clients. So in terms of the soul, firstly, let me say again that we have very limited vocabulary when it comes to understanding the soul. As a reminder, it is our vehicle of consciousness, not necessarily just in this lifetime, but previous lifetimes. It holds within it the potential for us to reach our highest vibration, or that frequency of the cosmic soul, which is really, for me, the purest version of your soul vibration, or your breath from God, your consciousness and energetic expression. And so the soul as a vehicle is that field that is needed for your life force to be connected and to incarnate into your physical body. And dependent on what you have experienced through this life and other lifetimes, various energy centers will be triggered or have memories held within them that need to be cleared. So the soul field itself, a lot of people think the soul is pure in its highest form, uncluttered from eons of human thought and consciousness. Of course it is, but the soul as a vehicle becomes cluttered, not only with your own thoughts and beliefs, but with entanglements from others, external interferences, and of course the energetic environment you're surrounded in. So as a parent, or guardian of a child, of a teen, of a young adult, you are the guardian of that child's soul. As soon as that soul has chosen your physical body, if you're a woman, to become birthed or to be birthed through the physical vessel, there is an agreement, there is a contract that soul has chosen you as the guardian. And what I'm very, very deeply passionate about is that we need to start waking up to that. That as parents, you need to begin to realize that there is so much more than just this physical, mental, and emotional expression. And that we need to go back to a time when the soul and its entry and then also the soul on its leaving is honored, is held, is cleared, is purified, is taken care of. So my role as a caretaker of souls is not only to offer you work with your healing and your soul cleansing, but also to work with those souls that have incarnated and are still growing in physical form. So let's talk about the experience of a young child, right? Young children of today, the souls that are coming in are highly, highly sensitive. These are brave, warrior, courageous souls that are here to change the planet. Now, not every soul incarnating has chosen that path, but the majority have. So the majority of new souls coming in and incarnating are really open in all their energy centers, and especially the heart field. The heart field for me is one of the most important energy centers at present, and the awakening of that space is what is happening, why so many more people are feeling sadness, why they're feeling a sense of suffering, while they're feeling people more, is because this energy center is opening up. And again, as a reminder, this energy center is the all-seeing eye. It is the place from which we energetically, spiritually connect to everyone else, and we see everything. If it is open and connected to our highest mind and not engaged in the chatter of our lower mind, right? So the children that are being born today can see and feel so much more. So they will be very sensitive to foods. They will be very sensitive to clothing. There are children who I've worked with recently who are very small, in fact, may have just gone through the birthing process, who are like, whoopla, this is too dense for me. What is this body? What do I do with it? That food I'm ingesting is so sensitive. So everything is really hugely shocking if they're not supported during that entry and the first few years, right? So these kind of children are asking for their souls to be seen. What does that mean? It means that you need to start engaging with these children in a very, very different way. The old techniques of parenting, of disciplining, the education system that locks children in a chair for X amount of hours a day and tells them to do A, B, C in that particular order is not going to happen, right? Because these children are sensitive. They have faculties, facilities, and gifts that will have yet to be recorded. So as a parent, as an adult, as a guardian of such a child, any child for that matter, right? Not just the children coming in, any child's soul needs to be taken care of, is that you need to become more intuitive. For that, you need to be more present. For that, you need to be less selfish. You need to be open to listening. And especially in the case of young teens, what has been very apparent to me is that they have not been allowed to express their feelings. Many parents I work with become nervous when their child gets super sad. There is nothing wrong with feeling sad. There is, though, something wrong with suppressing that sadness or feeling like you can't express it. So as a parent of a young teen, you need to be a brave warrior, to hold space, to let that emotion be shown to you and not to feel wobbled or shaken by it. That teen needs to see you as solid, right? So from a young age, start listening and start accepting what it is they're saying to you. Because what happens if we don't listen to that very deeply intuitive, heartfelt knowing from the young child, they become disconnected. So as much as you may have their well-being and their education and everything at their best interests, if you are scared to change things up from what a normal path would look like, then you need to think about that. Because the education system is not going to support these children. And God forbid that your child is 4, 5, 6 and is already being labeled ADHD. No, that soul is just uncomfortable in the environment that you have physically placed them. So for instance, in some of my client work, I had a client indicating that they had a child who was at school, I think 6, 7, couldn't sit still, put hands over ears, started almost screaming and performing totally out of the usual character, right? Because let's face it, we have trained young children to be like robots to fit into the system. And on the outside, the teacher would be saying things like, and this is no disrespect to teachers, I admire you, you're doing an amazing job. But as teachers, you also are being asked to look more into the sensitivities, into the spiritual, soulful aspect of the child. So the teacher on the outside will see this child performing, disrupting the class, not towing the line, making a big noise, forcing the child to sit in a corner and to calm down in order to join the class again. This sensitive child was completely beside themselves because their hearing is so oversensitized that they heard every rumble in the class. Now, it's not ADHD, darlings. And please, again, I'm not disrespecting the psychologist, psychotherapist profession, but we are not looking at the sensitivity of the field, of the soul. So children are now hearing things much more. You'll know if you're an adult on a spiritual path, you may have ear ringing or sensitivity. The vibrations that are coming in terms of our evolution are very high pitched, and these children can hear them. So we can't apply the same rules to every child. In this particular case, on tuning into the child, that child was needing to use their body. They needed to express it. So listening to what that child shared with me, I said, you've got to take this child outside. You can't force them to sit in a corner. They're going to get worse. Take them outside, have an adult or teacher run with them up and down until they're tired and they can feel they can sit down. So every child is going to be different, but the age of having a child sitting in a desk for 7 hours a day learning the same thing, not going to happen. It's not going to happen, people. And sadly, if you do not act as a guardian of the child's soul and start listening to their sensitivities, they will close down, they will lose touch with themselves, and also be exposed to energetic attack from outside. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that we need to start building energetic resilience in our children. The young children is a case of using their imagination. So again, as I mentioned in my Instagram live video, which you can go and watch if you connect in, is that they can very early on tune into what makes them feel comfortable. So I'm sure many of you with sensitive children probably have children who can't sleep, who might have nightmares, who see things that you can't. So use that space without stepping into fear, because this is another thing, right? This spiritual realm, the soul realm, is nothing to be scared of. Religion and other means have told us that it's something to be feared, it's something outside of us. No, it is the most natural part of who we are. We are a soul first. We are an energetic vibration first. And then we come in, incarnate into the physical. And in fact, if we can work with our field intensely, we create the physical. So the soul field, the energetic field, is very real. It is not something you want to disconnect from. It is not something you want to be scared of. So when your child does have intense dreams, hold the space lovingly, courageously, and without fear, and listen to them. Don't deny what it is they're seeing. Ask them further questions. Guide them. If they are having uncomfortable visions, ask them, what is it that you would like to see? Close your eyes. Imagination is the language of the fifth dimension, people. Use it. Tell your child to close her eyes, his eyes. What do you want to imagine that will make you feel comfortable? Would you like a golden angel to be with you? Would you like to be wrapped in a blue blanket? Prompt them with certain things and let them respond. So again with the food, right? If a child says to you, I'm not eating this food, please don't force them. They are not going to die because they don't eat full nutrition or have all the colors of the rainbow every day. If they do, that's fantastic. But they are coming in with a knowing that they feel into what they need to eat when they want to eat. So gone are the old routines. If your child says at 6 o'clock they don't want supper, trust that. Even if you feel it's not the right thing, the biggest thing as a parent that you can do to support the connection of your child's soul into their heart and their intuitive field is to allow them to speak and share with you and to acknowledge it. Of course, I'm not saying if he's beating little Johnny over the head with a frying pan that you don't intervene and you say, that's all well and good. No, we gently take the frying pan away and we say, I can see that you are agitated or frustrated. Is there anything that you want to share with me? But don't scream and shout and bash him over the head with a frying pan. We don't do violence. No. Never hit a child, please. Never hit a child. Don't even scream at a child, okay? But we won't go there. I'm not telling you how to parent. Well, maybe I am. No violence, no screaming. Empathy, understanding, listen. Especially when it comes to the soul now, the soul work. You are going to do more listening to your child than you have ever done before. Because on another level, without wanting to scare you, right, or bring in fear, there is a lot of energy in our world around our earth at the moment that wants to suck in and take away the purity of your child. A child holds very pure energy before it gets distorted by society, parents, teachers, etc. That is in demand. So we want your child, the stronger they can learn to trust themselves, the more protected their field is. And I can go into details about what visuals and techniques to use with your child, and maybe if you feel it be of value, one video will make that. But for instance, the visualization of a golden sun in your chest, heart filled and gold, heart filled and gold. Ask your child to close their eyes and see that just expanding outwardly, causing the sphere or egg shape of gold, and tell them that in that you are protected, you are shielded, no one can invade you. That's another thing I want to share. When we deny a child's intuition about feeling comfortable, especially with a person, this is human-to-human interaction, we are very definitely shutting down their souls. So again, if little Johnny comes back and says, I don't want to play with Peter anymore, but you are best friends with Peter's mom or Peter's dad, don't force him to play with Peter. Just because you feel uncomfortable with telling mommy your son doesn't want to play with their child. Because that child feels into that. Their soul is speaking to you and saying, I don't feel comfortable. This is why we have a lot of children who are vulnerable and who are exposed to abuse and violence, because we don't listen to their voices that are saying, I don't want to go to Uncle Stan. I don't want to go to Auntie Daphne. I don't feel comfortable in their presence. I don't feel comfortable in their house. Then acknowledge that and listen to it. Because this field, the soul field, has receptors working with the heart, has sensitivities. And these young children, the teenagers, the majority of young adults at this point in time who have incarnated, read the environment with their field. And that's all I do with my work, right? I've got energetic antenna that are just reading into and translating in a way that I can share with you. Like those fern fronds that kind of, curl out of those beautiful ferns when their leaves are being created. We have these antennae, we have these sensitivities, we have these energetic lines of communication backwards and forwards. So trust your child. When their sensitivity says, I don't like that person, don't force them to invite the whole class. Don't force them to invite that child they don't like. Don't force them to interact with your brother if they don't feel comfortable with their uncle. No, acknowledge it. Don't let you feeling bad or uncomfortable with saying no to an adult interfere with you listening to what your child has to say to you. I could talk very long and for many hours on this particular topic. But I just wanted to introduce you to the fact that we are being called as guardians of these children to take care of their souls, to acknowledge their sensitivities, to listen to them in a way that we haven't listened to them before, and to begin to understand them from a place of the heart, from an intuitive aspect, from an empathic aspect, because they have a lot to teach us. So to end off, if you have a special sensitive child, as is all children, if you have a teenager who's suffering from depression, get them to someone like me. Get them at least to connect with a spiritual healer or an energy healer who can tune into their sensitive aspect, their soul aspect, and provide you with information that may be needed to help them. Because not everyone needs to go and see a psychologist, and not everyone who is suffering depression, inverted commas, needs medication. Depression is just really a sign that there's a disconnect with the light, or there's a misalignment somewhere. Not in all cases, I acknowledge, but in children, in the majority of cases, yes. For me to hear that a 9-year-old has been put on Prozac is deeply saddening. It is not necessary. We need to see the souls of these children. So I'm sending you much love and blessings. Please be in touch with me if you feel you need a session, someone else you know needs a session, or your child needs a session. I would love to connect with you. And if you feel you'd like to connect with me more, please think about joining my community of the White Rose online. It's via Patreon, the link is below. If you're in Cape Town, I'm going to be hosting in-person events, again as part of the community. Connect with me, check my Facebook page out, I often advertise them there, and just be nice. And work with that aspect of yourself and acknowledge that aspect of your child or children. These children need us. We need to bring back soul into the world. We need to bring back spirituality into the world. We need to become more connected and more loving towards one another. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll chat soon.